broke my heart when I saw. I'm glad you like that Toby thing. It broke my heart this morning.
Goodness.
Hey, everybody, we're back here with the author of Medgar and Myrlie, Joy-Ann Reid. For those in the audience who may not be familiar, who were Medgar and Myrlie?
Well, Medgar Evers was the first field secretary hired by the NAACP. And that job really meant that you would investigate crimes that took place against Black people in the state where you were working, and you would sign people up for memberships in the NAACP, and you would attempt to register people to vote. But he was doing that job in the most difficult state to do it in the United States. Mississippi was the state with the most lynchings. It was the state with the most barbarism and crime against Black people. It was literally the most dangerous place to be Black in America.
Mississippi.
Absolutely, exactly. And he was a World War II veteran. He'd gone at 18 years of age. He had fought on Normandy Beach. He had been in the Red Ball Express, which was this segregated unit that were the transportation corps. So he'd been to Europe. He'd seen some of the world, and he came back saying, I'm not going to fight fascism in Europe and then come home to fascism in Mississippi. So he decided, the first thing that he did was he was wearing his uniform. He got back to Decatur, Georgia, and he was told to go to the back of the bus, and he refused. And he was beaten. And he said he took the beating of his life, but he was a different man. And Myrlie Evers was a 17-year-old from Vicksburg, Mississippi, who met Medgar the very first day that she was at Alcorn College. And her grandmother and her aunt, who's also named Myrlie, who had raised her, had said, there are 3 kinds of men you need to stay away from in college, my dear. Upperclassmen, football players, and veterans. And Medgar was all 3. And she fell madly in love with him.
Well, you say that you note that Medgar Evers is often left off of lists of the most significant civil rights leaders.
Yeah.
Why do you imagine that is?
I think partly, and I've been thinking about this a lot, because, James Baldwin, who I consider the greatest writer in American history, he named 3 people he said were the great triumvirate of civil rights. Martin Luther King Jr., obviously, Malcolm X, and Medgar. And he knew and met all 3. He rode with Medgar into the Delta to do this incredibly dangerous job. I mean, Medgar would do things like dress up in field hand uniform clothes and pretend to be a field hand to be able to talk to these terrified people who could be lynched for looking at a white person in a way that they didn't like, right? And he investigated the Emmett Till case and got that to trial. He's the only reason it went to trial. He was fighting for a civil rights bill. But he did all of this and died in 1963, a year that was so momentous in civil rights, including the assassination of the President of the United States, the March on Washington, the 4 little girls bombing. His legacy gets overwhelmed and sort of run over by all of these events, many of which he had a hand in.
Well,
no, not the assassination.
I understand this. Exactly.
You know what I mean.
I understand what you mean. Well, Myrlie is still with us. She's 90 years old.
90 years young and 90 years fabulous.
I understand you got to know her in creating this book.
I did.
What's it like to spend time with her, and how does she now feel about our country?
Yeah, what was amazing is I first met Miss Myrlie in 2018, and this is what really caused me to want to write the book. I met her in California. I'd interviewed her before, but not in person. And when I first met her, she started talking about Medgar, and she sounded like a little schoolgirl that was in love with her beau. And I was like, Miss Myrlie, he's been dead for over 60 years. And she just said, Medgar Evers was the love of my life. That's her voice. It's fabulous. And I said, Miss Myrlie, this is such an amazing story. This is a love story. And it struck me that in order to do this work, this incredibly dangerous, deadly work, these men were not marble statues. They were human beings who had love lives and romance and fell in love with a girl and had all of the things. He was the fun dad on the block that used to throw the football with all the kids. He was the one who would take them all, throw them in his car and take them all to the drive-in, the segregated drive-in, but to try to give his children, but also all the kids on the block a life. And that took a lot of love for his family, for his people, for his community, really for his state. And I wanted to tell a story of all of that broader love. When he was assassinated, I spoke to the Sweet kids, they're now adults, who lived down the street. And most of the people that I interviewed on the block, they still live there. The real friends of the Evers. And they said when they assassinated him, they assassinated this block. He was all of our, he was our kids' dad's friend. He was part of our community. And all of the kids there were forever traumatized. His kids were forever traumatized. And to kill a man in his own driveway in front of his children, you had to have such deep hate. I wanted to write about the deep love on the other side of that coin.
Well, we have to go here in just a second, but I'm curious what you learned in your research for this book that is applicable to our country and the divisions that we have today.
I would say what I learned was about courage. And I think that is the other theme in this book. You think about today, people who are afraid to stand up to a former reality TV show star president because of a tweet. And yes, indeed, people do face death threats if you speak against him. But a lot of the people who are facing those death threats can afford 24-hour security because they're wealthy people. This was a man who had no money. He wasn't even making enough money to sometimes afford his insurance premiums, and he was a former insurance salesman. You know, these are people who went into the battle for civil rights with no resources, with no support. And so I think about today, the political courage of people who I deeply disagree with. Your Toby Keith segment really moves me because this is the thing. I disagree with Adam Kinzinger. I disagree with Liz Cheney vehemently on their politics. But that's political courage, to stand up to your party, to stand up for your country. The Tennessee Three, these 20-something-year-old state senators, and Miss Gloria Johnson, their 60-something-year-old friend, who came together and said, we're going to stand up to the Speaker of the Tennessee House. Those small acts of courage are what can save our democracy. And to have courage, you have to love something, right? If you love you love your kids, right? If there's a fire in your home, you're gonna run in to save your kids because you love them. And in order to really have courage, you have to access that love. And so I think that's what I learned, is that there was so much courage back then. And the people today, we have so much more, so many more resources. We need to have a little courage to save this democracy.
Thank you, Joy. Medgar and Myrlie is available now. Joy-Ann Reid, everybody. We'll be right back with two-time WNBA champion A'ja Wilson.